How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about The Body. This is from October 18th, 2018, and is, I believe, the very first episode of Into the Dark. Into the Dark was this thing that Blumhouse TV and Hulu did, where every month they would give you an original horror movie on Hulu, which is pretty cool, usually thematic to the month, and of course the October one, and I believe the first one is going to be a Halloween one. Great way to start off and celebrate. This is directed by Paul Davies, who would go on to do Uncanny Annie, the show's second Halloween episode, which we've already covered on here. And this movie stars Tom Bateman, Rebecca Rittenhouse, Aurora, Perrineau, sorry, I can't read my own handwriting, and Ray Santiago. Ray Santiago, I believe that's Pablo from Ash vs. the Evil Dead. And this movie is based on a short by Paul Fischer and Paul Davies. So yeah, one of those movies that was a short film that got expanded into a full-length film, kind of like Lights Out. Anyway, brief, non-spoilery plot synopsis. You get this guy, he's a hitman, and he just did a pretty big contract. He actually killed this really rich guy, and now that he's killed him, he has to drop the body at a certain location by 2 in the morning, which is in about 4 hours. However, the twist is it's Halloween, and since it's Halloween, he can just carry the corpse out, and everybody thinks it's just a Halloween decoration. Overall, a solid concept. However, once he gets out, he finds his tires had been slashed by Halloween pranksters, and he needs to find a new ride to get out of there. Well, some partying young adults see what they think is his costume, invite him over to a party, and say, hey, just show up to the party, make an impression, do a shot, and then after just one drink, we'll drive you to wherever you need to go. Well, of course they take too long, and they eventually find out his scheme. They realize that it's not a costume party goer, and that it's an actual hitman. And they manage to get away with him, with the body, and now they're in a chase through a city on Halloween night, carrying a real corpse and trying to escape a real hitman. And in a further twist, one of their group actually turns out that she falls for the hitman, so one of their group is turning against them because you can't resist that hitman, right? Overall, a pretty solid movie. Not the best thing ever, but overall, a really solid entry. Now, we'll have faults, and we'll get into them in a minute, but I do want to say, I watched Uncanny Annie first. I just kind of picked it, you know, and when I saw that this was the same director that did Uncanny Annie, I was a little worried because that movie, it wasn't the best. But I put this on, I watched it, and I was overall pleasantly surprised. It's a good, you know, sort of reinvention of the holiday, and I guess that's one of the biggest pros. You got an interesting concept, the idea that on Halloween you can go out and commit crimes, and lots of people will think, oh, it's just a Halloween thing. That's a really good idea. It uses the holiday in a new and interesting way that not everybody has done before. So yeah, I really like that. There's a good bit of humor inherent within the concept, and also these characters are better than the ones in Uncanny Annie. They're young adults, they're mostly on the richer side, and they're kind of idiots, so there's a good bit of humor to be had within that, them not knowing what to do and getting foiled by the hitman at every step. There's some interesting moments here, and I do really like that. And yeah, so it's way more Halloween-y than Uncanny Annie, a better concept, you know, where Uncanny Annie was just a board game, and then, you know, much better characters that I care a lot more about. Overall, yeah, this is a significant step up. But plus that whole love element, that is really unique and new, and it's something they don't do too often. He's a tough and serious bad guy, and yeah, we all know, don't do crime, crime is bad, but we know that there are some people among us who see this suave and cool hitman and would totally fall for him, and they totally make it believable even though it's, something we don't see too often, and it really is this interesting thing, like, I want to turn on my friends, I want to be bad, being bad is fun, and it's not every character doing it, it's just the one, so having this sort of unique element here, I thought that was a really cool invention, and you get things like the hitman giving this big epic speech about why he doesn't believe life matters, and the way they get a whole bunch of humor out of him being just so stoic and everyone else being goofy, and the hitman really does a good job of being suave and collected and, super brutal when he needs to be, and it does have some cool moments when he's coming after you, you need to get out of there. However, like I hinted at earlier, this movie is definitely far from perfect, and a lot of that has to do with the long middle chunk. There's a bit of this movie after the initial chase and before the ending climax where the two groups of characters, the girl and the hitman and the characters with the body, they're separated for like a really long time, and a lot of the action is them chasing each other around, and this middle chunk does drag a fair bit, and they have to do things like find out why they can't just call the cops, and it's a fair rewrite, but you can tell it's a little bit forced. Not quite to that red eye level of perfect writing there, but yeah, where you could see, okay, these characters totally couldn't figure their way out of that situation. It's plausible enough and it keeps the movie going, but I just don't like how long that they were separated for. You want to see the hitman chasing them around, and then there's this long section in the middle where they're just messing around at a bar or something, and I'm like, come on, go, And it's one of those things where you look at the credits and you see that this was based on a short film. Yeah, it's sections like the middle chunk where you can totally see that, but I don't want to complain too much. Enough does happen during the middle chunk, and it stays moving good enough. It's just, yeah, this does have a slow bit. And then you get to the end, which I won't spoil, and I do like a lot of the end because, it heats up again, there's a chase scene, but the way some of the plot points resolve and how much time we spend on it, and there's like one thing that when it ends, it's kind of like a joke, and it's like you built up so much for this end bit, certain parts just crumble away too quick, and it's like, we spent so long to get here, there's parts that need to be better, one of the ways one of the main characters' plot ends is this weird joke, and it's just, the ending was good, it's just I really wish that some of the elements had more weight to it. Again, I don't want to do spoils, but some parts just go way too far. And also, a big thing as this movie goes on, it does forget about Halloween, and that was the cool part of the concept. It's Halloween night, no one notices or cares, and you get that a whole bunch in the first act, and then less in the middle act, and then by the time you get to the final act, yeah, it's a cool, fun chase scene, but there's not really as much Halloween by the time you get to the end, and I don't like how the sense of Halloween disappeared as the movie went on, but overall, the actual final ending, I did think was an interesting concept. So overall, this movie is pretty good, but like I said, it does have some flaws, and I do wish more of that middle bit was a direct chase sequence, and I really wish they found a way to keep Halloween going the whole time. But really just a solid concept. This hitman character is a really great character, and the fact that, he's serious, he's tough, he's professional, he's also the kind of guy that goes, I can just drag this body out in the middle of the street because it's Halloween, So I do find that, there is a little bit of quirkiness to his character that doesn't feel, completely out of nowhere. So overall, I thought this movie was pretty good. Definitely way better than Uncanny Annie. I thought it's not anything to write home about, but it's still a pretty good movie. And if you got Hulu, it's around Halloween, yeah, definitely worth popping in. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Halloween playlist. If you want to see me talk about more Halloween movies, I've reviewed House's October Built, I reviewed All Hallows Eve and Terrifier, and I've reviewed most of the Michael Myers Halloween series. One of my goals this year is to finish all of those movies, all the reviews for them rather. Anyway, lots of Halloween stuff in this playlist. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Halloween playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.